Thanks, Juliana. Up next, we have Michelle. Michelle, go ahead with your question.
Hi, Juliana. That was a great presentation, and I never get tired of hearing more about whole food plant-based nutrition. I'm a practicing holistic nutritionist, actually, but I'm very, very evidence-based. And one thing I would just love you to back me up on, what one diet that keeps getting put in front of me is metabolic typing, and this notion that there are slow oxidizers and fast oxidizers, and that fast oxidizers are more adapted to eating animal protein and fat, and slow oxidizers are the ones that are meant to be plant-based. And I cannot find anything in any scientific literature that backs this up. And I loved your slides about metabolism. I just wondered if you could speak to that, because one of the textbooks that was put in front of me was written by, somebody who went to Harvard Medical School, but they didn't cite anything about this theory. So the only thing I could find circularly was that it somehow pointed back to a book that was written by someone in the Weston A. Price Foundation. So
I'm with you. Show me the literature. Show me the literature. I've yet to see someone. I mean, I've worked with hundreds of people, but again, that's anecdote, right? Like I'm talking. The science is, I would love to see that, because I haven't seen that either. But the hundreds or thousands, probably thousands of people at this point, maybe, definitely hundreds directly, one-on-one. And I've yet to see someone respond poorly to a whole food plant-based diet when done without, without the processed foods. And I do a lot of weight loss. I have clients all over the world that I work with weight loss. And if that's what they're talking about, like, if you let me tell someone exactly what to eat, they will lose weight. If you're talking about weight loss, that's what you mean by oxidizing. If I tell someone what to eat and they listen to me, they will lose weight at a predictable rate. My clients lose half a pound a day on average. So I would love to see the science on that.
Thank you, Juliana. Up next, we have Benny. Benny, if you'd go ahead and unmute yourself, please.
Hi, Juliana. Thanks so much. Do you have a comment, suggestion on raw versus cooked?
Yes. By the way, my son. Sorry.
Or raw and cooked?
Yeah, I actually did a video on this last week. So if you, all over my social media, I do these little videos on these topics that everyone asks the same question, because it's such an important question. And this is a really good question. So I will address it here. There are benefits of both raw and cooked foods. So I definitely see the benefits of eating a lot of raw foods, 75%. I don't even recommend, I'm one of those dietitians that doesn't recommend counting anything, carbs, protein, calorie, any of that. So about like 3/4 of your diet estimated, no perfection necessary, of raw foods, because, as you cook, a lot of nutrition gets lost. Some of the nutrition gets lost. However, some compounds actually are enhanced with cooking. So for example, I always talk about carotenoids like lycopene and lutein. When you cook it a long time, like a sofrito, what I talk about in Vegetarian diet is that in the Mediterranean diet, when they looked at the sofrito, which is like a marinara, like a tomato sauce that's cooked over the course of the day, those lycopene and lutein compounds get enhanced. So they're better absorbed, and they do better for decreasing risk for prostate cancer and stuff like that. So some things are better off cooked. You also can get rid of some of the oxalates when you're cooking a little bit. So I think it's good to incorporate both. The other thing I talk about is that if you're trying to be exclusively raw, there are some pitfalls that people run into. So I don't think there's any, I haven't seen any science that show that generally speaking, a raw exclusive diet is better than a whole food plant-based diet that includes some cooked foods. And I highly recommend Brenda Davis and Visanta Molina's book, Becoming Raw, because there's so much great data in that book. It talks a lot about all this stuff. But, there's some pitfalls. Like some people can't get enough calorie. And I have clients that come to me that are just trying to get enough calorie in a raw diet because they're not including stuff like, grains and legumes because they're not sprouting. And there are some pitfalls. And then they end up using like oils, and coconut oils becomes like this miracle food that's associated with a raw diet. So I think those are potential pitfalls for trying to follow an exclusively raw diet. And I don't think there's any reason to. So I think including a lot of raw foods and vegetables, salads, but then also some soups. I think soups are wonderfully magnificent because, some of the nutrients that get lost in the cooking are still in that soup. So you're still getting some of those nutrients. They're not really lost. It depends on how you cook things. It depends on the temperature you cook things. You know, if you cook something and then you spill out the broth, for instance, if you're boiling something, you throw out the liquid, you're losing the nutrients. So, but if you use it in a soup, then you're still getting the nutrients. So there's benefits to both. And I don't think there's any reason to do exclusively one or the other. And definitely include some raw into your diet.